and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Goodwin.
Here.
Martin. Here. Holt.
Here.
West.
Here. Okay, 5 members present this evening with Alderman Gray absent. Okay, looking at the agenda for this evening, motion to approve. Motion by Honey. Second by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed. Got one more minute on my phone here until 6:05, and then we will open up a public hearing regarding planning and zoning. All right, we have 6:05. We have a motion to go ahead and open the public hearing regarding the potential rezoning of the property owned by T&S Hudson Enterprises. Motion to open the hearing. Motion by Honey. Second by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed. Okay, public hearing is open. Again, this is regard to the potential rezoning of a parcel of land located on the corner of West Spencer Street and Shaw Street, owned by T&S Hudson Enterprises, LLC. The recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Board after their public hearing to the council is to rezone the property from R1 residential to R2 multifamily. There is a legal description of this property available for anybody who might want to see that. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to speak for or against, or speak about in any way the potential rezoning of this parcel of land located on the corner of West Spencer and Shaw Streets?
I had a phone call from a resident over here, and they wanted me to ask a couple of questions. They wanted me to find out, or if you're going to put a multifamily complex there, is the city going to widen that street, because it barely takes the traffic that goes down that street now. And the second thing they wanted me to ask was, will a multifamily complex hurt their property values?
Okay, Tony's here, the developer. If you want to, I guess your intention is to have an entrance off of Shaw Street, basically a private drive to split that property, right? And then that would act as the entrance to get to the units that you're building, correct?
Correct.
So obviously Shaw Street would be used. It would be used in the same capacity that it's used in now. To answer the question of will that street be widened, I would think that, I don't know if the city has any easement there. Do you know that, Tony?
About 2 foot on the west side. I don't know what it has on the east side.
Okay, so I know we do probably have some easement and widen it. I know we don't have a whole lot, because whenever that street was put in years ago, they just didn't make them that wide.
Yeah.
Right, so
it is wide, giving a little bit of that.
Right. So the ability to widen it is probably there based upon what easement we have available, and then obviously if landowners are willing to work with us to widen it if deemed necessary. And if you want to discuss what type of units that you're planning on putting on there to answer that second question, then you can go ahead and do that.
The private drive will house 4 duplexes. They'll be nicely built. I don't see it affect the property value anyway. It's going to improve property value, in my opinion.
Well, there's already duplexes down the hill from that place anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it is now, it's a vacant piece of ground.
Along Spencer will be 2 single-family homes, so those will further improve value. There will be a spot on Glassy and Shaw that will be left for retention, green space, to account for rainwater runoff and stuff like that. So, no, I don't see no part of property values. I don't see it going one way. As far as Shaw goes, I wouldn't be against giving a little bit there so the city could widen, because it is a narrow road, but I will provide a private drive to mostly
I was asked to ask those questions, but.
Yes, ma'am.
I live next, on the west side
Okay.
of that, and I think it's a great plan. I think it will enhance our property.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Very good. Anybody else here this evening? Council? Okay. Lance, when the time arises, should we close the hearing before we take it to a vote, or should we do that during the hearing?
You know, you close the hearing first.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, motion to go ahead and close the hearing. Motion by Honey, second by Bass. All in favor say aye. Opposed. Okay, so we've had a public hearing with the Planning and Zoning Committee, in which recommendation to the council was to go ahead and approve the zoning changes. We've now held a public hearing as a council, and we've heard some questions, some answers, and some comments. With that being said, is there any motion from this council to approve or disapprove the zoning change? Motion by Honey, second by Bass, to go ahead and approve the parcel located at the corner of West Spencer and Shaw Street, owned by TNS Hudson Enterprises, from R1 to R2. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay. Zoning changes approved. Lance, you'll draw that up for us for an ordinance.
I'll do a proposed ordinance for you.
Okay. So, if so prepared by the next meeting, we will make an official reading to make that an ordinance change. And from then, the process will be complete, correct? Very good. Thank you, council. Thank you, folks, for coming. Thank you, Tony, for helping us with some of those questions in regards to that.
No problem, thank
And
you.
good luck with your project.
I appreciate it.
All right, moving off from there, we have time for any citizens participation. Excuse me. Is there anybody here this evening for citizens participation? I need to drink water. Hearing none. Move on to the approval of our regular meeting minutes of November 15th, 2022. Motion to approve. Motion by Martin. Second by Bass. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Is it hold?
Was it? Did you change it?
That's fine.
Pass it?
Do you approve?
Yeah, I approve, I wasn't here, but Lane said I can still approve minutes.
Okay. Executive session meeting minutes. Has everybody had the opportunity to read those minutes? If so, is there a motion to approve?
I did not get a chance to read it.
Okay, we can do that real quick. One moment, folks. We'll knock out this. Let Alderman Bass read these minutes. Right. Take your time. Take your time. thank you, sir. Sorry, folks. Sometimes we don't get these until right before the meeting, when we're all back in here together. With that being said, motion to approve the executive session meeting minutes of November 15, 2022. Motion by Martin, second by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you, council. Treasurer's report, bills will be paid. Were there some questions on some of the bills to be paid? Yes, sir.
I do. These late fees, I've got down here in half, why are we paying late fees on the Viva late fee finance charges? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 that I see. I don't understand why we're late on paying, so we have to pay late fees.
So we get those bills at like the first, second, third, fourth of the month, and then they're due by the 16th. So depending on when the council meeting falls, the check doesn't get there, and even when it gets there, it takes a long time to process. So we've had them in the past. So we have moved to paying them online to try to avoid that.
I should use this council meeting late.
Yeah, we don't get them until the first of the month, not even the first. Like sometimes it's a couple days later, and so it misses the first meeting of the month. So sometimes they don't get approved until the second, and it's too late. So
I didn't realize that. I had one other one, Ms. Malawi might be able to answer, on page 12. Boarding for a dog.
That was a police dog.
Is that a police dog? Okay.
Hey Doug,
Yeah, I understand.
why did we board Vandal in August of last year?
In August, probably because the canine officer went on vacation.
Okay, I didn't know, I just saw it on there. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, anything else, council? Hearing no more, motion to approve the treasury report and bills to be paid, as well as the addition to bills to be paid.
Motion.
Motion by Honey, second by Bouse. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you, council. Street department. So we received a letter since our last meeting from Mr. Dennis Chandler, who is the current supervisor. I will read that letter to you all. Dated November 21st, 2022. To the mayor and the aldermen of the city of Cuba. After working for 30 plus years, I have decided to retire. As of Monday, November 21st, 2022, I am giving my 2-week notice, which would end on the 2nd of December. That would be Friday, the 2nd of December. It goes on to say, I have several sick days and vacation days coming. I would like to continue to draw them on paydays until the first payday in March. On the first payday in March, I will take the remainder of pay in one check. Thank you, Dennis Chandler. So obviously, I think it is Dennis's intent he had submitted his 2-week notice, and his appointment did end on the 2nd, correct? He has not been working here since the 2nd of December. However, and Lance, feel free to help us here. Is there any questions on the second half of this? Yes, ma'am.
So for clarification, he submitted his resignation effective December the 2nd, but if I'm correct, he has 4 weeks vacation, is that correct?
I would have to go look and see exactly how much he has,
But
you
no
can earn
more
up
than-
to 4
But no
weeks.
more than 4 weeks.
Correct.
So that would actually, if he's wanting to use his vacation time and use it as an employee and stay on the payroll, his effective retirement date would actually then be the 30th of December, because that's 4 weeks beyond. That would take care of his 4 weeks vacation, if he has 4 weeks.
Correct.
So actually, his appointment with the city would terminate on December the 30th rather than December the 2nd.
Right, because he's getting paid.
Or at the end of his vacation pay. Now, with having said that, his sick pay, the handbook says that at the time of retirement, we will compensate the employee on a payment schedule to be agreed upon by the Board of Aldermen. So I would suggest that we accept that as his payment plan for his sick pay. Does that seem reasonable? Because it says, a payment schedule to be agreed upon by the Board of Aldermen and the city and the employee. So obviously he agrees to it, and if we agree to it, that would be his payment plan for his sick pay. For all sick days accumulated, because if there is no agreement, it says that he will be paid for all of them in one lump sum payment within 30 days after the date of retirement. So that would mean he would have to be paid by the end of January. So I think in accepting his letter of resignation, that should serve as his payment plan.
Yes, through March, you mean?
Well, no,
Well,
his,
he's wanting it through March, so I don't think that's a problem. I mean, he can have it as long as the days are still there, sick days, but we don't know what that information is. We don't know
Yeah, how
what
many sick-
days he has.
does he have enough sick time to carry him from December 30th? That'd be his last day of his vacation, so it'd be starting the first week of January to carry him through the first payday in March.
Yeah,
He
that
has,
would
he has plenty of time between
Okay.
his sick time, his vacation time, between everything he has. He has enough to use time for 80 days work between now and the last day of his, that he put in there in March.
Yeah, until the first payday in March.
Yes, so he did
But
time,
from
so,
December 30th until that last, or that first payday in March, those must be sick days that he's using.
Correct, because he's using his
His
4 weeks of
vacation-
vacation from the second
His
to the 30th.
vacation pay is an upfront thing.
okay, so, and that's fine. So are you saying then that he would not be an employee after?
After December 30th, I would say he's not, no longer an employee. He is just being paid his sick pay per his request. The agreement, it says his payment schedule to be agreed upon. So if
And so
we're,
you're wanting to do that so that he won't receive any benefits after December?
I don't know, well, he wouldn't receive any benefits.
Well, so I can just tell you historically, anybody who has retired and has time, you know, their last day of working might be December 2nd, December 3rd, whatever time they have, whether it be vacation, sick, comp, personal, to carry them through whatever date they request. We've always left them as an employee, and they have received all benefits.
So basically, we have not been following the employee handbook.
Well, I mean, I think, I don't have that from me,
I didn't want it. It clearly states that sick pay is to be paid after retirement, either in a lump sum or on a payment schedule, agreed upon between the employee and the city. So I'm
Right.
saying his letter is that's what he would like to have agreed upon through March, or through the beginning of March. That's what he asked for, so.
payment schedule agreed upon, so I mean, I would assume if you guys agreed to let them do that, there would not be a problem.
There's not a problem paying him, for sure, but I think there's a problem keeping him on as an employee. Lance?
How would that work in that situation? He's eligible, he uses whatever vacation he has, which is capped at 4 weeks, right? So let's say he has his 4 weeks, and that takes him from December 2nd to the end of the month, basically the whole month of December, right? Vacation is regular employee. Then if he has another, say, 60 days of sick time and comp time built up, obviously he's entitled to that. That's the way the city operates and always has. And for the handbook, whatever agreement we decide to agree on, we can either write a check for it all, or basically keep them on payroll using sick time until it expires, right? It's taxed and everything else like a normal employee. But would he still be retained as an actual employee of the city of Cuba while he's drawing that sick time? Therefore, he should remain on the benefits?
If you pay it out as payroll, then I think he's treated as an employee.
Okay.
I think we need to revise this because that's not what it says. But
You know, if I'm not, and I'm gonna speak for myself as an employee who's been here for over 22 years, I would ask for some of us to be grandfathered in, because we have watched everybody else do that, and that is like a big perk of saving our retirement. So I mean, I would want the same thing, I don't,
Well, I think that's a discussion that probably needs to be had at a later time as far as maybe working through the employee handbook and see
Yeah, I agree.
that's fine.
whatever's are there and grandfathered in, or maybe gradually get down to where you are in compliance with whatever policy comes along.
And that is fine, because I even told Cody there was a lot of things in our handbook regarding some other matters that I wanted to discuss and sit down with Lance. So I mean, if that's what we wanna look at, that is fine, but I mean,
But I just feel like when we do this, what we're proposing to do here is we're keeping, not just Mr. Chandler, but anybody, we're keeping them on a payroll, we're holding a position which we can't fill because already is filled.
Right.
So we can't go out and hire somebody to work, to fill that position because it's not open.
Correct. Because we already have somebody on
And if
payroll.
we did hire somebody who paid benefits on 2 people, only one of whom is working, I mean, I get why they're doing it, and I understand that, and I understand that it's good for them, but this, and if it was my money, I don't know what decision I might make.
Right, well, I don't,
This isn't our money, this is the city's money, I think we have to be very prudent about what
Well,
we're doing.
realistically, I don't know that it changes too terribly much, because the city does get the benefit of splitting up those payments rather than doing lump sum payments.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that, I'm okay with the splitting up. It says that you can do that, and he clearly asked to have it done, and I'm all good with that. What I'm not good with is keeping him on as an employee
Like for his health insurance.
for any reason, because we can hire somebody else as long as he is an employer, and he's going to be until the first day of March.
I don't think there's anything that says that you can't hire an employee ahead of time. When you know.
well, the disadvantage would be we'd be bringing in another employee, we'd have double salaries and double benefits for that time that lapsed over, which was not budgeted, clearly, you know, and it would be a financial thing, having 2 people basically in that same position with the same benefits. So, by accepting this, which is fine, he's getting everything he's entitled to, and sounds like rather than taking one lump sum up front, we'll spread it out into the first payday in March, and then at his request, whatever is remaining, he would go ahead and take in one lump sum. So, with that part being said, is there a motion to go ahead and accept Mr. Chandler's notice of retirement with the stipulations of he's going to go ahead and draw the rest of his vacation and the rest of his sick time until the first payday in March, and then at that point in time, he will take a check for review. Is there a motion?
Tony, we're not changing nothing that he's asked for?
No.
Nothing out of his asked for?
Correct.
Everything what he's asked for, that claim.
Yes.
I want to keep it like this, so we let this.
That's exactly what I'm asking for. Is there a motion to accept?
I will accept what Ben Town
Okay.
said.
Motion by Copeland. Is there a second? Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. Second. So what we need to do is we do need to accept this right now. If we want to revisit how we do it in the future, I think that's probably a really good idea. But what's in front of us is what we've done historically, right? He would be entitled to as far as what our practice is. So all in favor say aye. Anybody opposed to this specific request? Okay, so that is granted. He'll draw his vacation and then his sick time as requested, right?
As an employee of the city of Cuba.
Yes. Now, does that need to be looked at? Absolutely. Right? With that being said, it would be my recommendation to the council to, even though we're short a man here, due to the fact that we have somebody on full payroll and full benefits until March, that we hold off until March to make a motion to post for this position. So that way we're not paying 2 people to do that job.
So, since he is technically still an employee of the city, correct? He's getting payroll taxes, so he's an employee of the city too. So, if there were an emergency, we are within our rights to ask him to come in and work? No? Why not? He's an employee.
Right.
I don't get it.
Because he's already told you that he's not coming in.
I mean, also, sick time over 3 days is supposed to come with a doctor's note,
That's
too.
right.
So there's definitely some holes here,
You betcha.
right? And again, I get to Laney's point, and to your point, to Laney's point, well, it's always been that way, right? Just because it's always been that way doesn't mean it's the best way. Now, I would certainly, if we revisit this in the future, just so I'm on record here for all current employees, nobody that's been here under this should be punished. It would have to be effective with new hires only moving forward that, hey, yeah, there's a lot of people that have been working here for a long time and they are going to benefit from this, but we've established a policy for new hires going forward that this is how it's going to work. We had to make a change.
Exactly.
Right?
That's where it should be.
Yes. So I think we need to look at that.
Policy where we get them, you're gonna have to use up 5% of your excess or whatever until you.
Right.
Years until they
Sure.
become in compliance, even if they're current employee.
And again, I'll be entering my 7th year of being alderman mayor, and yeah, I've seen this happen more than once too, folks leaving, and don't want to do anything for one person that we haven't for another. And if it is revisited in the future, then yeah, I think there should be a grandfather clause there too. I just think that's all
They're
there.
the same loopholes with Craig and Chris, and we
It's
should
not
have
even
fixed it
I mean, it's just a
then.
policy.
Well, those guys didn't retire though. They
But
quit.
they didn't, that's right.
They
All of it's all in how you write the letter.
Well, I can,
Yeah.
they quit.
Chris did, actually. We voted another.
She retired. Chris retired.
All right, that's.
Okay, so bottom line is yes, Denny's retirement is set. We wish him all the luck in the world. And then whenever that is finalized in March, I think we need to be ready to entertain a motion to get that position posted and filled.
On that same subject, I do think we need to go ahead and, move Bill Dotson into the supervisor's role tonight.
Is that your motion?
That would be my motion, because he's the
If
assistant.
you're gonna make a motion, on second.
As a temporary,
He's the assistant, being made as the assistant supervisor, and Denny's not there. And so,
we've already said we're not gonna post the job.
Right, because it's technically not open. But then we have a gentleman here that's doing those supervisor duties more or less.
We'll just have to keep doing those
Right.
supervision duties, I guess, that's not good.
if your supervisor dies, you still gotta have a supervisor.
That's why he's the assistant, you have to take over when the
Yep.
one isn't there to do it, and he's not.
Well, we're not gonna replace the man that's gone, but we do need to put Bill in as a supervisor. Somebody's gotta make the call.
We don't have an opening for a supervisor,
Until March.
not till March.
Right, that's the conundrum.
Well, make him the acting supervisor, I don't care.
Why not
He already
say-
is.
He already is, by default.
Well,
Right, he already would be by default.
So,
Yes.
has anybody even talked to Bill since?
No,
Bill's left?
well, for one, I mean,
Say, hey, look, you're gonna have to run the school
Right.
department, does he even know all this, or is he in limbo land? That's what I'm trying to say.
well,
either one.
Whoa, being that we just accepted Denny's letter, I would say he's probably been conducting business as usual and.
Yeah, that's Ben, he's gone.
I'm sure he
Can't
probably,
leave us.
I'm sure he's taken the lead. As far as an official title change, that obviously hasn't happened because the position hasn't even ever been posted.
But just because the supervisor left, okay?
Right.
We are in charge of it. Somebody should have sat down with Bill and said, hey, look, run this, blah, blah, blah. Has anybody talked to Bill? I don't know.
Who's on that committee?
I'm hoping somebody did.
So Cody,
Yes, sir.
tomorrow would you call Bill and explain to him what's going on?
I'll be happy to.
Explain that he's the assistant, in case he didn't already know
Right.
he was the assistant.
Yeah, let him know that it'll be March before we get you anything supervisor position.
I would be happy to do that.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So again, Denny is retired. We wish him the best.
And this is the problem that it creates with staying on payroll.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Planning and zoning board recommendation, so we have, everybody may or may not have a copy of this, but there may or may not, it's planning and zoning, committee meeting minutes in your mailbox. The planning and zoning committee held a meeting on November 28, 2022 at 6 p.m. It was a public hearing. Looking at your minutes, it was the first held public hearing in regard to the Stubblefield property and the potential of rezoning that property. There was two meetings held the same night, one in regard to the rezoning of a section of that property from R1 to C1, as well as another separate section of that property from R1 to R2. There was some participation that evening. Whenever the meeting was in fact closed, it was a recommendation of the board to ask the council to make those changes. So that is what we are here for tonight, to approve or disapprove the planning and zoning board recommendation. If so approved, we will then make a motion to set a second public hearing, just like we had earlier this evening for the Hudson property, but this one would be a public hearing with the council for the Stubblefield property. So are there any questions, or is there a motion in regard to the planning and zoning board's recommendation of approving the zoning change.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Bouse, second by Martin. Again, that is to approve a portion of the property from R1 to C1, as well as R1 to R2.
So that motion can go for both recommendations, we can do both in one,
Okay?
That's my recommendation for both of them.
both in one.
Okay, so we have a first and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Very good. With that being said, I would like to entertain a motion to go ahead and set a second public hearing. This one will be held at the Board of Aldermen. We did have one this evening, however, on this one, I'm going to request that we don't hold it in a regular council meeting. We have a special meeting for it, just so we don't have too much going on in one night, and we can focus our attention on that public hearing. My thoughts are having this, because it'll have to be posted and landowners will have to be notified, Tuesday, January 10th at 6 p.m. Is there a motion to have the public hearing with the Board of Aldermen here at City Hall, Tuesday, January 10th at 6 p.m.?
Amen.
Motion by Copeland, second by House. Anybody have any objections to that, Andy? Does that work for you as far as you're aware?
Yep.
Tuesday, January 10th at 6 p.m. here at City Hall. Okay. Give us time to get everybody notified, get the word out, get the message in the paper, everything that we're required to do.
Hey, Andy, will you please let Cameron know too, because I just talked to him today, and we counted days, and so he knew that January 3rd would work, but after talking to the mayor, we decided to change it, so I'll let him know also, but tell him that's why it got changed. Thank you.
And I mean,
What day is it?
And that's fine.
Tuesday, January 10th at 6 p.m.
And I assume you're gonna want me there as well.
If you can make it, that'd be great. Any objection to that as far as you know at this point in time?
No,
Okay.
what time?
6. Okay, so we'll go ahead and post for that. Tuesday, January 10th at 6 p.m. All in favor say aye. Opposed? We'll get it set. Water department bids for some well controls. Do you have that info?
Should be in the packet, but I got mine here.
All
So,
right.
just go to the back.
Oh, okay, yep, I had that. I thought that was electric stuff, because it said electric. No. All good, so we have 2 bids here, for well controls, budgeted item for the water department. Looks like we have a bid, from Aesthetics Electric. These are like items. First quote comes in at $23,652 from Aesthetic Electric. Second bid is from ECCO, Echo Electric Company. Price is $30,947.
Motion to accept the lower bid. I talked to Glenn about that.
Mm-hmm.
He said that both of them good companies, and he would recommend us taking the lower bid because it comes in under the budget price.
Very good.
On the equals,
From what I understand, yes.
It's in the budget, yeah.
Well, and if they were equal, they were like, I think they were equal for the job, yes, absolutely.
He said they were both of them the same.
You made a motion?
We have a motion to accept the bid, $23,652 from Aesthetic Electric by Bouse, second by Copeland. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, bid approved. Police chief. Nothing for the chief, from the chief, anything for the chief.
Well, I have something that might concern him, but I was gonna, I guess I'll do it now. That's, business owners over in the industrial park, they, wanted me to request that we look into opening that second, railroad crossing. They want it opened up for better traffic flow.
I think.
We've got one crossing in and one crossing out.
That would have to check.
And not for truck traffic, just
Yeah,
vehicle.
I don't know if my was closed, I don't know if it has anything to do with MoDOT. I know I had a meeting with MoDOT one time about that gate and stuff like that, and the, railroad department or whoever has railroad there, but, I'm not sure why they keep it closed, I don't know if it's for the, it's because the hill,
if I remember right, BNSF closed it because they didn't want to do maintenance on 2 of them.
Something to that effect.
Yeah, I'd say you probably have to get the railroad's blessings to reopen that, and they may not even be interested in having that conversation. I would say that's probably worth that, but we can always try to find out.
I'll check with the railroad and find out what their thoughts are on it.
Yeah, I mean, they might say go for it, or they might say it's a liability to us without making it an active crossing and we're not.
They don't even use the tracks anymore.
Yeah, you're exactly right, yeah.
It does make it horrible getting in and out of the industrial park.
Right.
There's only one way in and one way out.
Makes it harder to do crime in there, though. Makes it harder to do crime in there.
Yeah,
That's true.
There's only one way in and one way out.
yeah.
Anything else for Doug?
That's all I had.
Nuisances, did you have any updates on that this evening?
I don't, I know, Cameron was at the office and I don't think he left me a list. I know he's working on the search warrant to get in and get some, dogs taken care of at a house that has all the utilities. I can't even remember the address of that.
Okay.
I know he's been working pretty hard on that one.
All right. We've had a few, I know we discussed some last time that were resolved. Had another incident, Officer Dildine contacted me, in regard to a residence on Deving Lane that had another tenant. But I think we got that resolved. I think the folks moved out of the tent. Spoke with the landlord of that property, and I think they were gonna have a further discussion with those tenants in regard to people can't be living in tents. I mean, it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but lately we've had a lot of that, so hopefully that one's done. That takes us to 205 Shaw Street. We're all familiar with that residence there on the corner of Spencer and Shaw. That is a condemned building. Our building inspector, you know, it has deemed it unsafe. We've posted it in the paper. We've had all the necessary postings to try to notify the homeowners and try to get a resolution on this property. We've heard nothing. The city hall did receive an email from an individual that said they might be interested in and or working with the property owner to purchase that property with the possible intent of rehabbing that property and making it nice again. I have spoke with the individual that's said that that was their plan. I asked if they would be here tonight. They're not here. I asked for some callbacks. I have not received those callbacks. I asked for information on, you know, have you already purchased the property? No, we haven't, but we're thinking about it, or we might. I said, have you entered into a contract to purchase property? Is there a closing date on this property? I did not get answers to those questions. I did make it clear to the individual that if the city chooses in the future to demolish that property and have it hauled away, that there will be a lien attached to that property that could either fall on the current landowner or the future landowner, depending if there's a change of hands of who owns that property in the meantime. The individual was very aware of that, still didn't really offer me any more information on whether they were going to buy it or whether they were not going to buy it or what the case is. I don't even know if an individual did buy it with the intention of fixing it up. And again, there's nobody here tonight showing us grand plans to fix that thing up. I don't even know if it's savable.
Bob said he wouldn't issue a building permit because it's not 50% viable. And that's a requirement.
So there's also that. So we don't have to act on this tonight as far as, hey, are we going to tear this thing down or not? But what I would like to ask the council, if you guys are interested, in at least going ahead and submitting bids to see what it would cost, what it would take to go ahead and have that property taken down and removed.
I make a motion to go out for this.
Okay, motion by Honey, seconded by Martin. So again, all this means right now is we would run that paper for 2 weeks, provide the address, say, hey, we're interested in seeking bids for the demolition and removal of the structures on this property. You know, we can open it or we can have it to where by the January 3rd meeting, we have some bids to open if that provides enough time. I don't know if that would get in the paper long enough, it's up to you guys. But we might as well at least get some bids and see what the cost looks like. Maybe we'll learn more in the meantime. I kind of doubt it, but maybe we will. Maybe somebody will say, hey, these are my plans, this is what I want to do. I'll be more than happy to listen to somebody if they have ideas, if somebody's interested in purchasing that property and cleaning it up. Maybe they want to clean it up on their own so they don't have the city center built. I don't know, but I've seen nothing to change my mind otherwise up to this point. So, motion to at least go for bids. And if we want to look at where that would run and for how long, Lainey, you can help me with that. It probably wouldn't hit the paper till next week. So it could run in the 20th and it could run in the 28th. So then we could have bids turned in by, you guys here on that Monday? We have it turned in by noon on the Tuesday the 3rd.
The first week it will hit is the 27th. So it'll be
So-
22nd, 29th.
Okay.
And then due by the 3rd.
Okay, yep, 3rd at noon. Turn them in City Hall, 3rd at noon. Sealed bids to be turned in at City Hall, January 3rd by noon. So there's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, we'll go ahead and send that out for bid. See what we get back, so we can discuss it further whenever we open those bids.
Cody,
Yes, sir.
you know that's 2 lots that are, right?
Yeah, there's 2 structures. There's the house and there's the garage.
They're on 2 separate parcels, I believe.
But same landowner.
Same land, yes, 2 separate parcels.
So we'll include that in the bid package. It's 2 structures, 2 parcels.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And a red.
And yeah, a few other things up there. All right. So we'll look forward to moving on that one possibly. All right. Old unfinished business, Kevin.
Hey, Lance. I asked you a couple times, and I asked you again, when are we gonna get the plans for the water problem over here?
I just talked to Cameron today, he said he's supposed to email them to me.
I'd like to have a date of when we're gonna get it in our hands. That's what I'd like for him to tell us. When are we gonna get it in our hands? It's been going on a long time.
I understand.
Okay.
He said that he's got them, he said he'll send them to me.
Okay, we have a survey marker in that road going into his park by the building. Street department asked if there's anything going on. That's wondering. Right by the cattle barn, that curve is a survey marker right in the middle of that road. They didn't know if the park board was doing something fair. They got to know what's going on. You're gonna get it dug up and eat. Why is the survey marker right there in the middle of the road?
First I heard
Is it? That's me too. They just asked me.
it. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I do have more. And jury makeup was out on this one. Breckman has got a couple of furnaces down. We've only got one. Where we at on that, Jerry?
I talked to, JT came over probably 2 weeks ago, because he's having a problem, to see if he could fix them, or what the deal was. One was already down, been down since last year, but we had the 3 other ones working, which was sufficient at the time. So he came over to look at the other one that quit, took parts from the one that wasn't working, to make the one on the, I call the dance floor, work. So he was gonna look and see what it was gonna take, if we need to get the parts to fix what's down there, because they're from like 88, I think, say 1988, they were manufactured, and I think we bought them used from somewhere. I don't know.
You come from the old grocery store.
From the old grocery store, so they're, 35 years old. And I asked him to get me a quote, what it would take to repair it, if it can be repaired, and a price to replace it, if they can't be. The one he can't get apart, it's just rusted, which is up on the whole main floor, the eating, the middle floor. He can't even get it apart to work. It's that bad. He's afraid to tear into it, then have nothing, So, and I called again today, I haven't heard from him, so if you want me to proceed that way, I can. Try to get an idea. The other one goes down, we're gonna have, other than.
Yeah, I mean,
The second furnace that's working is for the front lobby where you're coming, that's it.
And I can help Jerry with that. I was actually with JT up on top of the roof. And the one heat exchanger is plumbed out.
Yeah, it's all.
well, I think we definitely need to see what we need to do to get us through the season, if we got to buy some parts or whatever we need to do. And then I think we definitely need to plan on budgeting for some new heating units there. But whatever we gotta do to help get us through the winter,
Right.
let us know so we
I
can
mean,
get
it
it
works
approved.
okay, but I don't, it has some really big cold poles.
Right.
I don't know what it's gonna do to get, you know.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, we gotta buy new units and figure out how we're gonna pay for it. If we can limp through and keep it going, then we can at least try to budget for it.
Okay, I'll see what, I'll keep trying to get a hold of it to get it right to get us through.
And if that is the case, just help us all to remember whenever we start preparing a budget for next year that, hey, we ought to probably think about replacing some of these heating units.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'll do that, I'll try to get a hold of it.
Thank you, Jerry. I have something else, Cody. I'm gonna bring up something that's been brought up, and then yes, and then no on. The Metco building. The offices over there. What, have we got any plans, or we got plans to move the girls over there from City Hall into that building? We ain't, it's just been sitting there.
So we paid for engineer drawings on what it would look like to get that set up over there, for a police station and for offices. So both of those plans are available, I believe. We just never acted on them, because National Medical was still in there at that point in time. Now they are out. They are out of there. They're not coming back. So
I wouldn't want a police department in there, but the girls' City Hall might be a good idea. You know, the office space, more room.
yeah,
I'm just bringing it up just to discuss. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of space over there. It's a city-owned building. It was given us with the intent to use as a city asset. Obviously, we've had conversations in the past. We even had a public hearing about moving City Hall over there. We had some folks, you know, speak out against that, so we never took it any further. I don't know what we can do to try to look at, we can establish a committee. We can plan a special meeting to discuss what that would look like. We can entertain another public hearing to hear what the citizens have to say about moving it over there. I mean, it's there, it's ours, it's vacant. So it's up to us to decide what we do. We just haven't ever put anything in motion.
I think the girls look all good in there. I mean, it's been gave to us to use.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think, yeah, I mean, it was that, it was, can PW put offices in there too?
Yeah,
I think there's enough space. And then there was also, what do we do with this building? So we all have a city asset sitting here.
We could rehab this building.
Well, I mean, why put money into it? I mean, that was the thing, like, we'll have something else sitting vacant, so. I don't know, would you like me to?
Put a committee together. Maybe City Hall could be talk to the girls, or put a committee together on it. Yeah.
I will do that. I will create a committee and you guys can have meetings and discuss it.
Now, I have something else. It's been a while now since our comptroller retired. I wonder where we're at the day that we're going to actually hire somebody for the girls. They took on the extra duties, and I think that the time that the comptroller retired until we hire somebody, the girls should get compensated for something. I don't care if it's $1 an hour for blah, blah, blah. They are doing extra work. They're not really complaining about it. They do a good job. But, you know, I throw this stuff on you.
We didn't ask for that.
Huh?
FYI, we did not ask for that.
I know. You did not ask for nothing. I'm just bringing this up myself. You know, be fair to everybody. So I'm just wondering, are we getting a date for knowing when we're going to hire someone for City Hall?
No, I don't think we have a date at all. We currently have somebody hired. You know, she's got a 1,000-hour employee, and I don't know what she's.
But she said she's not going to stay on.
Right, yeah.
And we need to find out where we need to,
We most certainly do.
you know what I'm saying?
Are we still under hiring?
It wouldn't be, we wouldn't be hiring to replace that position until the next fiscal year, because we budgeted her 1,000 hours. So, if that is what we're gonna do, because we need to do something,
We have to have some idea.
it'll be on the July 1 fiscal year, would be whenever we would start to replace that position if Tanya is not gonna stay on for another 1,000 hours.
But I want to make it clear, I haven't talked to the girl, but, you know, blah, 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 just, you know. And the last thing I got, I'm gonna wish all the citizens, community, and everybody, a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. You know, and I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Martin,
No, sir. Merry Christmas.
thank you. Hey,
What she said.
absolutely. Ms. Lane.
I do have something. So that's it now. So I've kind of have to have a renewal. And we really have to have something by the end of the year. So our broker, Brad Rourke, he's the one that came and presented last year, his recommendation is that we renew with the same company, Anthem, that we are with. Our premiums have gone up 6.9% this year, and he said that's really good, and he does not see us benefiting to move to a different plan. Now this would, last year we also did the 1,200 HSA, FSA reimbursement to all employees, because even with that and our premium, it's still cheaper than moving to a different company. So basically, I am just proposing that we do the same thing that we did last year. But if you want more information, I can do that. We will just have to have a special meeting. It's up to you.
So again, yeah, what we have from our broker here is saying the best, in our insurance broker's opinion, which that's what we have them for, is keep the same plan you guys had last year. Yes, there's going to be a 6.9% increase because that's just the way the world is. And with that, that would also include the same HSA, FSA contributions that we provided for our employees last year. So if you want to continue that same plan, we can hear a motion. If you want to hold off and set up a meeting to explore other options, then we can entertain that motion. It's up to you, council.
I'll make a motion
We
to
need to look at
follow your,
the $48,000 that we have to put in the bank before the 1st of January, if we decide to.
Yeah, I mean, our comptroller is going to have to be aware that this is going to have to be done. Correct?
She is aware of our HSA and program that we have. I actually asked a few questions about it, and I did ask her about this. I said, what do you want me, I gave her the numbers, and she said she didn't need to see anything additional to approve it. So, to my understanding, she has it all budgeted.
motion to follow your broker's advice.
Say a motion by Baus to continue with the program with the increase and the same contributions. Motion by Baus. Is there a second?
Okay, I have a question.
Second by Copeland.
So,
Yes.
and this has nothing to do with anything you guys have done, but why do they typically wait this late to, we couldn't go out and find somebody else, like I said, without a special meeting before January 1st, which is when we're supposed to know. Is this a typical time for them to do that, and can we encourage them to give us some data maybe October?
I've never handled this before, and we don't have anybody within office who does handle it on a regular basis. So he had sent out some stuff, he had sent out, when did I call you, last week?
Last week.
Maybe, and said, hey, I should be getting your rates in at any time, and he's our broker, and I said, okay. And then I don't know much about doing this, because I've never done that.
I'm all good with it. I'm just wondering, maybe, could you ask him if this is a typical date that he would do that, or if we maybe have a little heads up?
I will, and like you were saying, talking earlier also, I think that sometimes on this one, he did not push it as hard because our renewal for this is not actually till March. So the plan renews in March, but deductibles and everything else still starts in January. Yes, but I will still ask him, because I know it's December 13th, and I just got this part today, so.
You want me to withdraw my second and more time looking at that?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, I'll keep my second.
No.
Okay. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, good. Anything else?
No.
And I do agree, I mean, a little bit more notice from them would be nice, so for other options for us to explore, then that would certainly be helpful. Curtis?
I'm good.
Jeff? Again, we're looking at the January 3rd as the next meeting. There will be no public hearing that evening, that will be January 10th for the other rezoning issue. Trying to think of any other items that we might need to take care of between now and then. None that I can think of. Okay, that's it. Everybody have a happy New Year, Merry Christmas. Motion to adjourn. Motion by Hunter.